College Algebra Homework 26. Starting out with the domain of a rational function. A rational function just means it's in the form of a fraction. If I have a fraction and I try to put 0 in the bottom of my fraction, say I did 25 over 0. If you put that in your calculator, it's going to give you a math error. Division by 0 is undefined. We can't do it. So when it says to find the values that are not in the domain, you're finding the values that make the bottom of your fraction 0, because we can't have that. So what we're going to do is take whatever's in the bottom of our fraction, in this case x squared plus 5x plus 4, and I say that it can't equal 0, but since it says not, you could put equal, it wouldn't really matter. Then we solve it however is appropriate. In this case, we have a quadratic function, one with a squared, so we have to solve it by factoring. So I'm going to factor this out. X and x, both of my signs are pluses, so plus and a plus. Factors of 4 that add up to 5, 4 and 1. 1x plus 4x is the 5x in the middle, so it checks out. Since we have that it's not equal to 0, I can then just break it down into two problems. Either the x plus 4 can't equal 0, or the x plus 1 can't equal 0, just like when we solved our other quadratic equations. So when we solve those, we're going to move our numbers to the opposite side. I'm going to minus the 4 and minus the 1. So the two values in this case that are not in the domain are going to be negative 4 and negative 1. So when you put your answer in on Alex, it is going to use the equal sign because it's using the word not here. So it's not equal to negative 4 or negative 1. So the second one, same kind of thing. We want to find in our function f the values of x that are not in the domain of f. Since again we have a rational function, one that's a fraction, we know the denominator can't be equal to 0. So x plus 4 cannot equal 0. In this case we have a linear function, one without the squared term. We're just going to solve it like we solve all our other equations. We got to minus our 4, so x cannot be equal to negative 4. On Alex, they're going to have x equals, and you're just going to type the negative 4. The negative 4 is the value that's not in my domain. Negative 4 plus 4 would be 0 on the bottom of that fraction. So, either you're going to have a quadratic expression that you have to solve by factoring, or a linear expression where you just solve it the normal way, and those are going to be my values. Third one then, same kind of thing. Find the values that are not in the domain of g. I have a rational expression, one that's a fraction. I know the denominator of my fraction can't equal 0. I'm always using the denominator. The x squared minus 1 cannot equal 0. Again, on this one I have a quadratic expression, one with the squared term. I have to solve it by factoring. X and x. This one happens to be the difference of perfect squares, so you may remember how to factor that easily. Otherwise, if we follow our rules, the end is a negative, so we have a plus and a minus. Factors of 1 that add up to 0, a plus 1 and a minus 1 give us the 0, x is in the middle. Again, we break that down. X plus 1 can't equal 0, or x minus 1 can't equal 0. And so when we move our numbers over here, I forgot to put my 0. Here I'm going to minus my 1. Here I'm going to plus my 1. So the two values on this one that are not in my domain would be negative 1 and positive 1 are the numbers that are not in the domain.